Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Getting There with Pat F on this kind of dreary Sunday morning. Well, I ran into some issues with one of my power saws when I needed it in a pinch, so I went out and bought another power saw, which I like very much. And I got to thinking, besides having a backup saw, why should I get rid of the old Poulan Pro if it can be a simple fix? So I'm going to take a look into it and see what's going on. I've already removed the stock muffler, which, looking inside of it, is nice and clean, and the screen doesn't look too bad on it. But I will open that up and I will take a quicker look at that. I'm going to see what I can do to kind of help this breathe a little bit better. Now, granted, I've always been told that a 2-cycle engine is just like a nice big pump that's fired with gasoline. You suck fuel in one side, you compress it, and you push it out. All right, so going on those principles and what I know from 4-stroke engines and so on and so forth, I'm going to dive into this thing and see what the actual problem is. I think I'm more fuel related than anything else. But let's start off. Compression. I have some compression to it. I took the bar off of it and checked it all out. And let's take a look inside the chambers. Pardon my hands while I take you out of the stand. I see some scoring on the piston, but nothing too serious. I don't see any real carbon buildup. But I'm beginning to wonder if it's time for a top end. But let's take a look at the cylinder in the back there. If we get in there and see, I don't think that looks too darn bad. But, well, let's go ahead and dive into this thing further. Hold on a moment. Alright, so I know that I've got some compression. Okay? I'm not saying that it's the greatest, but I'm also not saying that it's the worst. Alright? I know I need to clean this thing up. So I guess I'm going to come into the carburetor. Oh, actually, no. Let's do this one. Christopher, can you find me some sort of a bucket that I can dump my fuel into?
Give me 1 second.
I should have a drain pan in there somewheres.
Yeah, somewheres.
Pardon my little workshop here. It is a mess.
I am not seeing it out.
What about...
Oh! I might have... Nope, that's chainsaw case.
I have a black drain pan somewheres. Let me... Alright, just drained out my gasoline to see what I have, my fuel. And I have a nice, I'm going to call it seafoam blue fuel. That looks pretty clean. And I know that this is a pump gas mix because I mixed it and poured it in. But prior to this, I had ran something called True Fuel in this saw. And this is where it started getting funky. So, I'm thinking that my issues are more so carbureted related. And I gotta see what I gotta get it to when we get this carburetor out of here. There's a new fuel air filter. How the heck is this? This must be fastened on from the back. Oh, I think I see what the issues are. One, it has to do a lot with cleaning, because this saw definitely has not had a good servicing and cleaning.
I could see that.
In a while. So I'm going to take the covers off of it, brush it down, and I'll go get some cleaners and my air compressor fired up here shortly. We'll blow out all the dust and stuff like that from 3 years of use and abuse. But let's see how bad this thing
If
is.
you want, I could start digging the air compressor out.
Which air compressor are you talking about? The one in the back.
The big one?
Just plug it in and leave it there. I got a hose there too.
Oh boy. That's a big.
But we don't want to go ahead and disturb everybody with lots of noise right yet.
And blow my mind out.
We don't want to do that at all.
I'm already almost at that point.
A lot of people don't understand it or know it, but Poulan Pro and Husqvarna both come from the same parent company, and quite possibly from the same production lines, or same factory anyway. Maybe just two separate production lines.
So kind of like Echo and Shindawa?
Yeah, basically like a Ford and a Mercury, or a Ford and a Lincoln. They both go through the same factories, but different badging.
Okay.
Why do they do that? Cost. There's one there. That one is out. This is my fuel mixtures. Fuel mixture and another bolt. I gotta get myself a set of T-handles. But for all intents and purposes, this is working. I can do it. Oh boy. Yeah, she needs a really good cleaning. Who knows, maybe when I'm done I can get this old Poulan Pro to start up on more than one pull after priming. You want to angle the camera to what I'm doing here, Chris?
Sure. That's better. Good thing I'm picking these up.
Why, you don't want to get nailed?
Yeah, I don't want to get my shoes stuck in the nail. There's nails all over this floor.
Well, that's what happens when you have a
Messy.
small space for a lot of stuff.
Have a stuff here we don't even need. But we have it anyways.
What do you mean we don't need? We don't have time to use it, but we do need it. It's called maintenance and hobby. Okay? So, as I'm digging down into this further and further, hopefully we will find
the problem.
What needs to be cleaned up on this.
Mostly
That one's
everything.
out. All right.
What was that?
That was just a little deflector plate heat shield.
Oh, alright. Oh, I saw that.
Oh boy, look at this, folks.
Wait, that might have been from the time.
Shavings
I was
get
Italy.
everywhere from noodling and usage. So yes, I'm going to say I need a definite cleanup
Definite.
of everything. But as it goes, I'm going to start even more disassembly if I can get into stuff. Okay, that's got to come out of the way. Do I get into anything over here? That's got to come out of the way. Where do you get at that one? All right, folks, I'm going to shut it down here and now. I've got to go get some cleaning products, a couple brushes.
Would a paintbrush work?
Oh, paintbrush will help.
Because we have like tons of them.
And fire up the air compressor. Okay, folks, I just did a quick little interlude of the cleanup of this saw. A little bit of gasoline and air. But I went ahead and also took a look at a few things. And I found this nut here floating around on the magnet for my magneto.
Huh?
Yes.
What's that?
That is what helps create the spark for the saw to run.
Oh, okay.
So that's telling me I had two things going on. I would get it to fire and I'd ground out, for one. And two, I couldn't see because this thing was so loaded with sawdust. Yeah, I admit I'm terrible on maintenance of things. But I have a vacuum leak. Just a second, I'll turn you around and I'll show you where this creates the vacuum leak. Now let me show you what the issue was. Right down here on my carburation mount bolts, I have one nut here on the stud, but the nut vibrated off of here for some reason, made its way down through and through the misuse and somehow got trapped over here on the magnet. So I'm figuring that I'd created a vacuum leak on my carburetor getting loosened up from the gasket and the cylinder. So I'm going to put that nut back on there, reassemble the saw now that I've cleaned it up, and see if I can get it to run.
Nice.
Well, it looks like I have just saved a saw without spending any money on it. And yeah, I did buy a second saw, but it's nice to have two functioning saws. Now, this is a 50-20 with a 20-inch bar. The other is a Husky 50cc X-Torque 545. I now have two running saws. This one here was something simple I had to dive into and figure out what it was, find out what was wrong with it, and it turned out to be the carburetor was starting to loosen up off its mounts. Well, I'm going to go ahead and save you the painstaking time of cleaning up and finish putting everything together and putting it back in its case. And I will probably dive into another saw today. But this was minor issues that was keeping it from running properly. And now it's running much better. Oh, and by the way, other people don't realize this, but a lot of saw shops will not work on a Poulan Pro because they say there is, how shall I quote the gentleman? No money in them. And everybody looks at them as disposable saws. Well, they may be disposable, they may be a $200 saw, but they still work. Have a good day. Hello everyone, this is Pat F. Well, today you saw me working on my chainsaw, and what I found was wrong with it was basically issues of quality of assembly. I'd have to put it down to. Not so much quality of parts or anything else, but I'm putting it down to assembly because if it was assembled correctly 3 years ago from manufacturer, half the parts that vibrated loose on it would still be there and still be tight, because I've never been in that saw before today. And the quick thought of just going over it before getting rid of it probably would have saved me from buying the other saw, which is a nice addition to the quote arsenal of power saws that I'm building. But it is also money I could have used better elsewhere also. So my word to the wise is, before you toss something aside, always investigate what the issues are. I did not spend a single cent on repairing that Poulan Pro today. I hope that more people will look at their saws and their equipment themselves with an open mind and be observant of fastenings of carburetors, mufflers, chains, and so on and so forth, because these little things make a big difference when it's right. I have the Poulan Pro 5020 up and running again, and generally I can start it after warming up on one pull. That has never happened with that saw before. So when I tell you to take a look at your saws and take a look at your fasteners of everything, go through them, make sure things are tight. This is the first time I've ever been into this saw aside from a tune-up or any other type of work, and it has turned out to be one heck of an improvement, even from when it was brand new. Thank you. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and I'm always welcome to kind comments in the comments section. Remember, we can spread kindness very easily when we have a peaceful heart. Thank you, and have a great day.